Chief, hi mate. Finn Conchi, what did you see in him that you liked and enough to offer a young man a 3-year deal?
Well, if I use the lingo, he's a baller. So for me, technically, very good player, tidy on the ball, has got a good football brain. I think in our system, he'll do quite well as a 6 and potentially even as a 10. So we've explored a little bit in the internal games and seen how he's gone in those areas, and he's tidy in both. So I'm really happy with him.
How pleasing is it to be able to replace a couple of players who have departed with an academy product?
Oh, it's fantastic. For me, it's a true value of a club is if they can develop their own players. I'm happy to aid that along with the staff, and I think Finn provides the right sort of player that we're looking for that fits in our system, and I think that the ceiling for him is a lot higher than what he is showing at the moment.
In your experience, how do you know when it's the right time to give a guy an opportunity at ALeague level? How will you know?
My experience and the staff's experience is that we want to test them in the environment. So we put them through vigorous training, and that's obviously the senior players as well, and how they adapt, how they react. And also we assess their temperament, which is very, very important, and how they deal with a bit of setback. And how they bounce back from that, and then we look at the consistency of performance over a range of time. So I'm one that's very, very picky on players. Like, I won't make my mind up for a long time, and I've been doing this for a while, and I feel like it's a good process, and Finn's done very well, hitting all those boxes for me, or ticking all those boxes. Sorry.
Yep. Yeah. And so that's 17 now. I think you have to have 20, don't you, at the start of the season?
I think 18.
18. Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're nearly there.
We're close.
Yeah. As far as the remaining import spot is concerned, can you give us any update there?
Yes, the update. Good question, Piney. We're talking with a couple of people at the moment. Some might be of a surprise, and I'll reveal that at a later date.
Very cryptic.
Yeah.
And you finally get the chance to get back out there and have a game on Friday night. In the Australian Cup, you can only train for so long, can't you? How much are you looking forward to actually having a game?
I'm really looking forward to it. The whole group's looking forward to it. The training's been. We had a game against West the other day, internal, and that was a good intensity. They gave us a good opposition, and I think after that, from what we've been doing over the last 5 weeks, I think there's plenty of scope where I think the boys are really embracing the new formation, the new style, and we're looking forward to trying to execute on Friday.
How challenging is it with such a long off season to keep things fresh, to keep these players motivated? It's
a challenge, but on the flip side, it gives me an opportunity, our staff an opportunity to implement this new style. So for us, it gives us enough time to bring out these ideas. So in a way, it's kind of refreshing for those players because it's something completely new. Training is not the same. We don't have the same routine. So for us, it's been able to keep things very fresh. But it is, look, once we're knocked out of the cup, or hopefully we win the cup, but once we're out, it is a long pre-season. So if we can fill in with games and have some competitive, some good competition with local opponents and foreign opponents, I think we can fill that time in really well.
And how different then will the Wellington Phoenix of 23-24 look to the way it looked under Ufuk Tele?
Look very different. Still the same principle based, but the starting point will be different. And like I said in my first presser, that I'll bring my own flavour to it.
You mentioned you're picky when it comes to selecting players. Was there a moment with Finn where you realised that you want to sign him, or was it his work over a long period of time that made that happen?
It's a good question. I think I was quite impressed by the World Cup performance, and I was impressed by what I saw in the academy. But I wasn't really convinced until I had him in the training environment, and we had a couple of internals where I played him with another young academy product, Fergus Gillian, who they actually both worked really well together. And there was a game there where I thought, okay, he's got it, and I was happy to take it to that next stage. So there's actually a bunch of academy boys now that are training with us and doing really quite well. So there's a couple of those players in the same sort of light that potentially could get a contract.
and you've brought up the value of the academy. Why do you think it's so important to bring up players through that into the main team?
Well, I think it's more about a cohesive football plan and longer term vision. If you can develop players from your academy, it means that you actually are planning as opposed to just buying players and just filling gap stops. I think with the future eye on developing these players, it also gives you a roadmap where everyone comes into line, from the office staff to the football staff to the academy, so it gives one purpose, one vision.
You said there could be another couple of academy players that get contracts. Can you give
Potentially.
us any hints into that?
No.
Yeah, fair enough. And you yourself, you've been
Yep.
in the job full-time for a few months now. Do you
Yes.
feel fully comfortable?
No, I love
with
the
role?
job. For me, every day is, it's living the dream. Even with my staff, I'm really enjoying my time. We've created a really good environment. Players are really buying into what we're doing. And I said this from day one, our goal is to excite fans, make the Phoenix fans really proud of the football. I can't guarantee the results, but I can guarantee the effort. So I believe we'll be an exciting team to watch.
Yeah, this is probably quite a pivotal time for the Phoenix. They've, under Ufuk, have been really successful, made a few playoffs, but haven't, quite gone all the way. Is that something you think you can do, bring us to the next level?
I can guarantee that we'll play a certain style of football, and I won't guarantee the results because that's not in my hands or the players' hands. It's in the football god's hands. So for me, I said one thing that I'll guarantee is making sure that we try and play the best.
Great, cool, awesome.
On the fact that this is the first, I suppose, official game on Friday, does it feel any extra special? This is the first game in charge against Peninsula Power?
Yeah, from a personal note, yes, it's exciting, but it's just more of a fleeting thought than anything. For me, my main focus, the staff's focus, is to make sure that we get the result, that we stick to our principles, and that we entertain the fans. But we also use it. We also use this as a building block for our season. It's not the end all and be all. What we want to see is that what we've done over the last 6 weeks, there's some resemblance, so that we can build on that for the next game, whether it be in 2 weeks or at the start of the season.
And is it important to get a result so you get more games in this tournament?
I've never heard a coach say that he wants to lose a game. So for me, every game is a must win, but it's more about the process for me and making sure that we need to get what we need to get out of the game, not just focus on the winning. Because if it's ugly, I won't be happy and the players won't be happy. For me, it's about playing well, getting the result and enjoying the process, and then we can build on that.
And I assume you'll be taking some of the academy players over as well?
Yes, I think there'll be 4 at this stage. Yeah, so they'll get an opportunity to be in that environment, which is great for the club.
You able to give everyone an update about where the squad is at fitness-wise, if there are any significant players that aren't able to make it this week?
No, at the moment, I think everyone is in contention. Ben Old is not. He won't be available. But there are a couple of players with a couple of niggles. So it's still. I don't want to give too much away. But pretty much, it's all the available players that we have are in contention. Well, apart from Ben Old. Yeah.
And back to Finn as well. A couple of questions from Zoe George at staff. Was the homophobic comment that Finn made and the subsequent ban, was that taken into account before you contracted him?
Of course. For me, the most important thing with the staff is to make sure that one of our core values is making sure that we have good people involved. But we also put it into context, right? He's a young kid. He got caught in a moment where he was very remorseful. He's shown remorse straight after the game. I was a little bit disappointed that it got to the point that it did, because he showed remorse straight after the game. And for me, look, we all make mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes in my life, and if I got punished with the full severity at every mistake I would have, I wouldn't be here. Right? We all make these mistakes. He's very remorseful, and I think now you'll see a change in him, which will be positive. The boys have already put him into line in terms of expectations and values and the way you need to conduct yourself. And you saw from his interview, he was, he does regret what he did, but he's also a young kid and he's going to learn from that, and he'll be better for it.
So you're confident that kind of behaviour won't be
No,
repeated?
that won't happen again. That won't happen again. It was just a small one-off.